right, TikTok and its users are fighting back after U.S. House lawmakers voted for a possible ban. And there are a number of reports that TikTok CEO will be on Capitol Hill this week for some in-person lobbying. The House passed a measure yesterday in a rare bipartisan vote that requires TikTok parent company ByteDance to either sell the app or face a ban in the US. All of this is because of the company's links to China content creators are fired up over this. Check this out.
It's about banning us and silencing the American people.
If this ban passes, it completely eliminates 98% of my customers.
The bill now heads to the Senate for consideration, but President Biden has indicated he will sign it into law if passed. We're also hearing from TikTok's CEO, who says a ban could potentially put tens of thousands of American jobs at risk. He took to the social media platform yesterday to encourage users to continue making their voices heard. Check it out.
We know how important TikTok is to all of you. It has given our 170 million users a platform to freely express themselves, and has empowered more than 7 million businesses in the United States. We will not stop fighting and advocating for you. We will continue to do all we can, including exercising our legal rights, to protect this amazing platform that we have built with you.
Right now, Senate leaders only say they'll consider the measures, so for now, users can keep on scrolling. All right, we've heard you've had questions about all of this, so we're here to give you the answers. We want to bring Evan Brown, partner at Neal and McDivitt, into the conversation, and he joins us now live. Hey there, Evan.
Hi, Bree. Thanks for having me on the show. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So before we jump into the ban, what did you think of TikTok CEO response to all of this?
Yeah, it's an expected response, plenty to be disappointed about. The statute is a little bit, or at least the bill that was passed the House is a little bit unusual in that it actually calls TikTok out by name, calls out ByteDance by name. And so it's clear what lawmakers' intentions are here to go after this particular company based on certain concerns that they have about users' data falling into the hands of the Chinese government. So I can certainly see why they're disappointed.
So you mentioned the bill and it being passed in the House. We know that this was 352 yeses and 65 noes. Did this vote surprise you at all?
Well, it is truly bipartisan. There are both, there are members of Congress, members of the House on both sides that voted for it, like you mentioned, Bree. The issue of national security is one that holds a lot of political currency. So it's no surprise that politicians, particularly in a presidential election year, will stand up and try to develop a record saying, look what I'm doing for the benefit of national security. But the problem, of course, is 170 million users. That is not an insignificant number. So many people rely on it for their business. So many people rely on it just for fun and entertainment. So there is this, on one hand, a very important national security issue, at least purportedly. And then also on the other side, there's the desire of all these millions of users who want to have this platform where they feel so much at home. It's a tough issue.
Yeah, so from what I'm understanding, lawmakers see TikTok as a national security issue due to its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. Is this due to user data potentially being exposed, or what's the threat here?
I think there are at least a couple of concerns here. One is user data being exposed so that, there could be, the worst case scenario is that there's someone in the Chinese government who's developing files, dossiers on American citizens who are using that, and that could be used against the individual. I think the other is, who is it that controls the algorithm? And so how is it that certain content is made available to users? And there's concern that the way that the algorithm is being engineered, that content favorable to the position of the Chinese government could be getting in front of users. So I think there's the dual concern, not just the user data that is falling into the hands of the Chinese government, but also how the Chinese government may use the app to manipulate thinking in a certain respect.
So when we think about it, what is the likelihood that, one, TikTok actually gets banned, and two, ByteDance sells? Because that's kind of the controversy here. The fact that the company is Chinese owned, the parent company is Chinese owned, and that's where a lot of this controversy comes from. So what are the chances of ByteDance, bowing down and selling?
Right. Well, if the bill passes the Senate and the president signs it the way it reads right now, TikTok will be banned. It's very clear that that's what the statute says. Nothing's going to happen right away. I mean, of course, the legislative process will take a little bit longer. And even then, TikTok, ByteDance would have 6 months to sell off TikTok. And, with all of these millions of users, there is a lot of money involved with this app. So it's really unlikely that TikTok is just going to fold and go away and not exist anymore. I have a feeling that there will be some real negotiation if the bill passes. We don't know if it will, but if it does, there will be some real negotiation so that the app can continue in existence, that these hundreds of millions of people can continue enjoying it, and for the benefit not just of the company and having a wonderful revenue generating application, but also for the enjoyment of all the users who rely on it in so many essential ways for their business and their day-to-day life.
So if we do see this get banned, TikTok get banned, who benefits from this? Because we already see users switching back to Instagram at the thought of TikTok being banned. So is it fair to say that you think that users are going to go back to Instagram and platforms like that?
Well, naturally. I mean, Reels is a nice, viable alternative. The algorithm works a little bit differently, but it's likely that even if the bill passes and there's this concern about during that 6-month period whether TikTok is going to be sold off, there are some real First Amendment free speech concerns here. We saw there was a lawsuit in, Montana last year tried to pass a statute, did pass a law banning citizens of Montana from downloading the app. The court in that case held that it was unconstitutional. So, does it benefit us? Does it benefit citizens of the United States to have this avenue of speech taken away, of expression? Absolutely not. But fortunately, the market does provide us with other alternatives, Reels and other applications. And there would be an environment in which a startup perhaps could fill that space. But I'm just not thinking it's very likely that TikTok is going to go away permanently. I think we should all be optimistic that it's going to find some way to continue in existence, whether this law be found unconstitutional or there are some business negotiations that happen so that it can continue providing the services that it does.
You know what, Evan, you actually just answered my my last question that I had for you about how do you think that this process will play out for users who have already downloaded the app, already using it, especially for creators who make money using the platform. But you kind of already answered that there.
Well, yeah, and by way, sort of as an aside here, there's nothing in the statute that says you could get in trouble for using TikTok. In fact, it expressly says that the Attorney General, who's the one responsible for enforcing the law, cannot go after any individual. What would happen is that the app stores, Google Play and the Apple, the App Store would have pressure. They're the ones who would face liability if after the ban, so to speak, the app was still made available. So individuals don't have much to worry about on their own liability. Their main concern is their free expression being infringed upon and having other good apps in which to generate content and express themselves and have a great time.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Evan, and educating us on all things TikTok ban. Your time was definitely appreciated here.
Thank you, Bree. Wonderful to be here.
All right. Social media is buzzing about this one. One high-profile senator